Taylor. I'm glad we could meet today. And I know we just briefly talked about what we're going to discuss, and we know we have a really short amount of time. So if we want to just start with just like a recap of what we've already kind of discussed about the situation.
Right, so next year, obviously, we know that I'm switching positions. I'm not going to be the class which I am, but I think I'm excited for next year. Basically, for planning for next year, we're trying to figure out the best way to allocate our resources, but also do what's best for kids. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult because people have different opinions about where those resources should go. So right now we're looking at a few different programs that will kind of build off of the STAR 360 program that we already have in place, and kind of make it best, but also make it a sustainable choice in resources.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of times right now we're kind of in a place where it's coming out of the curriculum budget, where we're just buying curriculum and not actually sticking with it for a long term. And I don't want that to happen again for another year.
Okay. So just to clarify, we are going to try and go with solely STAR 360 next year, as opposed to what were the other things?
Well, really, it's more of an issue of like how much of Renaissance learning we want to use, because our curriculum director wants those resources to go elsewhere and has some criticism about it, which is fine. But kind of like where that curriculum budget money is all going to go.
Okay.
So STAR 360 isn't, obviously, like, it's not a curriculum. So I think you're trying to figure out a way to do STAR 360, expeditionary learning, and core knowledge.
Okay. So STAR 360, expeditionary learning.
Those are kind of the top three that are up there. And I know Mr. Dunbar really wants a program that's like Dreambox for ELA, and unfortunately we just haven't found a good one because for us kids just like doesn't really cut it. So
yeah. So considering that this decision has to be made with a lot of other people, like what would you say when you're going into this conversation? What are like the pros and cons of each of these programs?
Right. So I've obviously talked with Mr. House and Mr. Dunbar, just kind of about pros and cons. Expeditionary learning only starts in 3rd grade. So obviously that wouldn't service our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade demographics, as well as the 3rd grade curriculum. So we used a little bit of it this year. Is actually too high for our 3rd graders, for our like demographic in general. Actually, the 4th graders were using some of the 3rd grade curriculum.
Got it.
If that gives you like a picture into it. So basically, what we're running into is like there's no one program that's going to do it all for us.
Gotcha.
And eventually, Mr. Dunbar, wants us to have our own curriculum where we're not relying on box curriculum. I just don't think we're at that place yet in our school's history. So, and then Accelerated Reader isn't necessarily a curriculum; it's more of a reading program.
Okay.
So, a little bit different.
Okay.
In nature.
So where core knowledge serves several different things, like they serve like social studies and science.
Right.
The accelerated or the STAR 360 Renaissance learning is going to serve like reading.
Yeah, it's going to be reading, and obviously it'll cover a bunch of things, but you're not actually getting things that people get confused with. They're like, oh, we're getting those books. Like, no, it's more of like a way to organize.
Yeah.
So your books that you're reading, and then like test kids on it from there.
Okay. And just to clarify, so that's going to be, they have already set up like ISBN numbers from.
Yeah, so like when you go on it's called AR Book Find, and anyone who uses an Accelerated Reader program, Accelerated Reader is like the general thing, and then Renaissance Learning has like a way to organize Accelerated Reader, if that makes sense. And then input the data into STAR 360, or vice versa. So like when kids take STAR 360 tests, they get the zone of proximal development, and then from there, teachers can decide what books are appropriate for their kids through Accelerated Reader.
Okay.
But it would be nice because even if we don't have books in the library, like I wouldn't even mind going once a week to the public library and saying, here are the books that we want, that like our kids want to read, especially since like our kids don't have access to books whenever they want to. So
yeah. So it's a way to organize reading and to find subject appropriate and level appropriate books.
Right.
I I know I run into not having, you know, like I've got a kid who's on a certain level, but he likes a subject from a higher level.
Right, right.
So just finding the books
It's
to
a
fit.
constant battle.
Yeah, constantly finding stimulus.
Someone that they're gonna, because kids not gonna enjoy reading if they don't like the subject.
Right.
And a lot of times it's just kind of like whatever I have on your level is what I need you to read. And
Right.
You're not gonna like that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that you're still trying to find the quote for this program, and so
Right.
like, that's still kind of iffy. But like in your ideal world, what does like these 3 curriculums you talked about, like what do they look like being used on this campus next year? Ideal world.
I mean, I think honestly what would be most ideal is like for us to choose either expeditionary learning or core knowledge, or like, I don't even know, a lot of it is really budget dependent. If there's any way that we can, you know, choose core knowledge for kinder, first and second, and possibly third, and then choose expeditionary learning for fourth and fifth. I think this is something that we're as a school gonna run into is as we start to grow, we're not in elementary school anymore, right? We're now in middle school too. So where do those things like overlap and where do they kind of separate? So in an ideal world, I think, again, budget dependent, but having each grade or cluster of grades choose which one they want to use.
Okay.
And then have accelerated reader as a supplement. That's the thing, accelerated reader is not a program, but the problem that we're running into is that because these 2 programs, especially for knowledge, are going to take up a good chunk of the budget,
Right.
there's no money for accelerated reader.
Got it. So
If we
just
choose like
figuring
all
out
of them.
If
Yeah.
that is, you know, figure out between the 3 of these, which, you know, which are the priorities, which
Right.
are, you know,
Right.
that we need.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, it's a good point that we need to like solidify it. You know, that grade levels need to choose like with obviously
Like a lot of
support from
teachers
people
right
that
now are
understand.
just kind of like, I'm gonna do Envision and Eureka, and that's great if that works for you, but you can't expect the school to be paying for those resources when you're kind of all over the place, you know?
Yeah, and I think pushing, you know, like you're talking about pushing 4 grade levels to
Right.
solidify a curriculum for the long term, not like for
Right.
next year. You know,
Right.
like kindergarten, you decide something for next year. Say
Right.
like no, you know, first grade, you guys need to make a
Right.
decision on where the school is going in the future, so we can stop. I get
And that's
stop
why I
that
want to
practice.
put accelerated reader in, because it's a program that all grades can use and use consistently, so when a
Yeah.
child goes from 2nd to 3rd grade, they can say, okay, I know how to use accelerated reader. I know that my zone is here. And really get that, I mean, it goes back to our whole conversation about like building school culture.
Right.
And as much as we don't want to become, a uniform, like, dead set tunnel vision, we also need kids more than anything to thrive for consistency.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that that's true, and I think so. Just a quick question about accelerated reader. So, and it does the quizzes tied into the program. Like once you pick a book, it does the quizzes in there.
yeah.
Wow.
So like you can look at the book and then click on the comprehension quiz, and then your teacher can see your results too. And it all goes into this like one place that's called the reading dashboard. So right now we can have access to the reading dashboard because we have Start 360.
Yeah.
But you'll see there's like 4 blocks in the screen,
Uh-huh.
and only one of them is visible right now. The other 3 you have to have accelerated reader to use. But it basically took all the data in one place, because right now we're using Kickboard, we're using Start 360, but then we're also using ANET and like also using other things. It's like we need to streamline all these things.
Yeah. Is there a way, like, I'm thinking now, like, pushback from teachers, like on the teacher level and having nothing
Right.
to do with budget. Like, I would love to get like comprehension grades and things from
Right.
this, and then I would have to transfer them over to Kickboard.
Right.
And I know that that's like
Right.
just something that will come up, and like,
Right.
is there something like, what would, you know,
I mean,
as
the
a
way
teacher,
I
how
would say
you
would be like, you're gonna be grading stuff anyway, and
Yeah.
that's, you have to put that into
Mhm.
Kickboard. But it's not like if anything, it's probably less work for the teachers,
Okay.
because they're not making up the comprehension questions.
Yeah.
You could change them, there's like a few different options, I think,
Mhm.
but you're not making up the questions, you don't have to grade it.
Yep.
So like, I think if anything, it's actually less steps.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, is like, I think my position being created in general and being split is that like I'm gonna be there, like I understand that like when I come back in the fall, I'm gonna put in a lot of work to kind of get everyone on this bandwagon so that like teachers can do it by themselves at the end of the year.
What kind of, so just like looking forward on that, like what kind of PD do you plan on giving or implementing? Like what do you think is going to be the most beneficial PD?
Well, I think definitely I'm asking for like a solid chunk of time about Start 360 because there's a bunch of features that we're not utilizing.
Yeah.
Like specific tuning, not only for groups or classes, but for students as well.
Yeah.
And then also, and this is something that no one knows about, there are tons of resources on Start 360. So like you can go into the dashboard and it will say like, here's the learning progression that you can follow for this child or for this group of students or for this class. Like there's 3 different levels you can choose. And it will give you the standard and it'll say, okay, like so if your child's reading on a 3rd grade level, here's the 2nd grade standard that aligns to this, and then here's where they should go next for like a 4th grade standard. And within that standard, you click on the resources tab and there's usually about 7 to 15 resources from places like OpenEd, Learnzillion, and it links directly to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really cool, especially for like, I know I'm not very good, I know I'd like to be better at teaching reading, and it's something that I think everyone can always be improving on, especially with those phonics level skills that we're talking about in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
They give you great resources that even if you're not a traditionally trained teacher in phonics. But
That's
obviously
awesome.
I'm not early literacy
Right.
or early education, so I didn't necessarily know those things.
Right.
So
No, it's different. So is it going to provide those for math? Does it provide those for math too? Because I know Start 360 does
Yes.
reading and math.
yeah,
Okay. So I think that's a huge resource
Yeah.
for our school to have. And I know that we're really low on time, so I'd love to pick this up again. We have to go. But I think that there's a lot to like dive into here
Yeah.
that will give you like the foresight to be able to present those things to
yeah,
the leadership. So,
Yeah.
like, these are important.
Yeah.
And this is why.
right.
And this is how I'm going to support it. You know. Awesome. Cool. So we'll meet again.